forward, dragged, but I was too tired. I was too tired to figure out what was going on.
God was dragging you.
I thought God was dragging me away to the afterlife, you know? And sometime in there I blacked out or I passed out or something. Next thing I know, I wake up curled up in an igloo. What's going on? I had a bear skin rug over me, you know? Blazing fire in the middle, and over it was a spit that had so much food on it. No, it was just a bunch of rabbits, because, you know, it's all you can find in the Siberian Peninsula. If you'd ever been there, you would have known.
Okay, my bad.
Oh my gosh, can we be quiet?
Trust me, who's telling the story here?
Sorry.
So, I wake up, and there's... Oh, blanket. I wake up with
My blanket just got commandeered, you
with a
guys.
blanket covering me,
It's a hoodie.
and I go, huh?
No, it's a... What are those called?
Snuggie?
Snuggie.
No, don't wear it. I have to wash it now.
It's okay, he showered today.
That's a sleeve.
Anyway, your story.
Yeah, so
you're in this blanket.
I'm in the blanket. I wake up, blazing fire in front of me, the blue of the ice shimmering all around me, and I look around to see the sparkles of the snow on the floor. I look in the corner.
Inside the igloo, though. There should be snow on the inside.
There's snow. It's like it's all packed down.
Yeah.
That's how igloos work?
Yes.
I don't know. It is now.
Well,
And I look up, and there's a 2 or 3 beautiful huskies standing in the corner, sleeping, curled up. You know, just beautiful. And I look and I see the spit full of food, and I'm so hungry. So I get up and I come over and I start pulling it off of the spit. The spit falls over. I'm so excited. I'm just eating like a savage, you know. And then I hear more crunching in the snow. And so I look up like from my little gremlin pose. I'm like, what's going on? And there she is, standing in her full bear skin suit, you know? She's got those funky little like snow glasses on, you know, with the slits in them and everything. She's got the big old hood over her face, you know, and everything like that. She's carrying a big old spear and her boot. She looks like the abominable snowman. Here she's huge. And she looks at me. I didn't know it was her at the time, you know, it was just a big thing. And I'm scared over in the corner. You know, I was terrified. And so I start slinking back in the corner, like, no, it's okay. Who are you? What's going on?
Can we get a live action?
Yeah.
do your part in the story.
So then I said, what's going on? What's going on? And then she said,
Who are you?
no, you remember me because you were the one that rescued me.
How would you know that? You thought I was God.
Like, did God rescue me?
I mean,
So I appeared in an igloo. Turns out that she had been hunting the exact same rabbit that I had been, but she saw how inept I was hunting, and so she was kind of just following me from behind and making sure I didn't die. So when I almost did die, she was like, okay, now's my time to check in.
Jump scared via Spencer.
And so I asked her, what are you doing up here in the middle of the Siberian Peninsula? She says, I'm a Russian double agent.
And she just told you that?
I'm spying on the Soviets right now.
Babe, you're not supposed to be
The Soviets?
The Soviets?
The Soviets in Saudi Arabia or wherever the
Those are two very different places.
Oh my gosh!
The Soviet
That's
Union
in
is
Texas!
But no!
That's in Texas!
You weren't there.
You called him Spencer on me, so now I get told that's in Texas.
So yeah, after a lot of poking and prodding, figuring out, what are you doing up here? And she kept on deflecting. I said, what are you doing up here with your dog? You sound like you're really well established.
So did you speak the same language if she was a Russian spy? Or
No,
were you
we're mostly
communicating?
She's
I'm a
funny,
Russian spy.
Of course she speaks English. She's a double agent.
She speaks Russian too. That's why she's embedded herself in
Have you
the
met
Russian.
any Europeans? They speak like 15 languages.
That's true.
Duh.
And she said she's currently on the trail of trying to find a Russian missile silo that they've been building, right? So she alone, because the government trusted her that much, she alone was sent to the entire northern part of Russia and just so happened to run into me, right? Well, I figured I can't just prevent her from finding this Cold War ending missile, right? And so I said, okay, load me up. We're going to find this missile silo, right? What's the dealio? How are we going to do this? She says, no, you're not. You don't know what you're doing. I don't need a kid on this trip. I don't need someone who doesn't know what's going on, right? And so she went off without me, right? She went off, she loaded up her sled dogs, and she was like, stay here, eat as much meat as you can, because there's plenty of meat, drink all the water you can, etc., etc. Be safe, I'll be back in a couple of days, you know? And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So she ran off, and lucky for me, she left snow trails, you know, with the skis, right? Because you can't not leave those, right? And so I followed her for days and days. I followed her, and I realized, man, by the time she was probably halfway across the continent, I would still be walking, you know. But I figured out how to do it. I walked and walked and walked. I walked through the tundras, through the flat parts of the land, and suddenly trees started speckling up. And suddenly I'm walking through a dense forest. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. The wind howls through the trees, chilling my bones. I'm so cold, but I still have her blanket. You know, I still have her blanket curled around me. And suddenly I hit my head on something. What is that? It's a huge icicle, 70 feet long, hanging from the top of one of these trees. Oh, it's beautiful. And I realized, wait a second, I can work with this. So I, with my karate chop hand, you know, I cut off probably 5 feet of it. And I look around and I find an identical one over there. I run over and I go, I cut it down, right? And I go ahead and I look around for something. I find pine needles. I tie the pine needles together to make a rope. And I tie the icicles to my shoes, and all of a sudden I have skis. And I'm skiing through the Russian Siberian Peninsula. What's up?
Like I rubbed some sea turtles with hair.
So I'm skiing through the Siberian Peninsula. The trees eventually fall down, and in its place come geysers that are spewing up everywhere, and I don't know where I'm going. I'm trying to ski around the geysers, and some hit me. Oh, I fall over. Oh man, it takes months to try to find her, you know. And I figured
I'm good at my job.
she's very good at her job, not being found. Eventually, I follow her trail directly to this big, huge 70-foot long, 70 feet wide circle. Metal circle in the ground, and I realize this must be the silo. So I take some of my skis and I hit them against the metal, and oh yeah, that is definitely Russian steel. You can tell these things. So I look around for a hatch or an entrance or anything.
Because it goes, duh.
Comrade! I'm looking around, I'm searching, I'm brushing through the snow, trying to find any trace of a handle or a hatch I can pull, when suddenly, chick, I hear, oh no, there's a gun pointed at the back of my head. I hear in a very thick Russian accent, turn around, comrade, I don't know, American pig dog, turn around. So slowly I turn. And there she is! Holding a rifle to my head. She looks me in the eye, she drops her rifle. What are you doing here, man? So we ended up getting into the base, right? The whole time she's mad at me.
The low voice.
What's up?
Yeah,
I said the low voice.
Yeah, she's a good Russian spy. Everyone
Yeah,
thinks
she's a Russian spy. Come on. A double agent.
Can I hear this interpretation? This low Russian voice?
No.
It's a one-time thing for her.
The Russians are still looking for her, so hearing it might trigger some
Right.
stuff.
Oh, okay.
But him saying it obviously doesn't cause it.
The phones are listening because
That's all in
the
English.
One in
Ruskies.
particular.
Oh yeah, you have to erase that after we're done.
Erase
You
what?
have to break the phone.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
Flush it down the toilet.
This will be self-destruct in
Burn it.
or whatever.
That's like Incredibles.
Or Mission Impossible.
I haven't seen it.
Dude, I love this.
Am I not ever gonna get that?
Have you seen the thing where you put your legs through the armholes and then you...
Wait, no, please don't do that to that, please.
I'm not going to.
Okay, thank you.
Anyways, continue.
Yes. So
That wasn't the end?
That haven't fallen in love yet, okay?
and then we go home and have a million babies. Happy birthday. There you go.
That
That
has
hasn't
not happened.
happened yet.
Yes.
Skip to the end.
So, she has the rifle aimed at my head. She drops it. She goes, "What are you doing here
My swamp.
in this swamp?" And I said, I couldn't just leave. You know, I missed the dogs. I wanted to pet the dogs. I wanted to see what was going on. I can't let the Russians win the Cold War,
Don't forget the meat.
right? And plus, I ran out of meat. I was hungry. So instead,
So you need the woman to cook you.
I needed I needed her to cook me a sandwich. And do the dishes. So, God!
Aurelia, give me an unamused look. That's
That
not
is her-
unamused.
That's her look. That's what she gives me. That's what she gave me when she had the gun in my head.
Yeah. I
So she tells me all the intelligence that she knows. She said, look.
was that easy? She's a really good spy. She tells you everything.
Yeah, no, she says, look, I can tell you've been through a lot. It's been a couple months. Look, we're nipple deep in this deal at this point, man. We can't go further. We have to just keep on going through. So I say, okay, fill me in on what you want. She absolutely. So let's see, we've got a super big Russian elite up here, like 3-4 star general, the equivalent of in this base. This is his responsibility, is to get this missile up and going, right? Our job is to assassinate him. And then we have to blow up the missile and make it out safely, you know? And I was like, dude, that is a big deal. That is a lot to do, right?
Yeah, why did you follow me?
Or I was like, yeah, I genuinely like to know, actually. And I say, okay, you know what? If there's any more rabbit that you are I'm down for anything. That stuff was good, guys. You don't understand. So she goes over to a rock, she brushes away the snow, and she opens up the secret hatch that she's been working on for a couple of weeks and lets me into her secret base, right? And I see, oh my gosh, it's so cool because it's all just a bunch of junk that's been cobbled together to make great electronics, you know? Like there's a tin can and a wire hanger that have some electronics in it that she uses, and she picks it up and it's a radio to the Americans. Are you kidding me? And inside there's this really old, what looks like a shoebox or some kind of a cardboard box that she flips open, and it's a computer, right? It's so cool. She clearly knows what she's doing over here, right? And she says, look, here's the plan. We gotta do X, Y, Z, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I'm not focused. I'm too busy worrying about the chicken, right? Or the rabbits. And she opens up a secret hatch in the floor and she says, this is our way in. You ready to go? Absolutely. So I jump in and I'm crawling through this tiny little space, right? I'm going, it's tiny, itty bitty. It's about yay high, actually, right? And suddenly I reach an end, and I'm like, oh, dude, it's closed. She says, move aside, you know? So I move aside, and she pushes this rock over. Well, to see if anyone's there. She goes, it's clear, and we both move out into the Soviet base, and there we are. When suddenly, out of nowhere, I hear an alarm. Intruder alert! Intruder alert! And I'm like, oh no, we got caught. And I look around to see what would have happened. Turns out I had accidentally stepped all over this tripwire that was on the side of the floor, right? And all through the red lights, and Aurelias is freaking out. She's like, come on, man, months of work going unpunished, right? But here we go. So she realizes it's time to go. She sees a couple guards coming
So
up.
I decided to sacrifice him.
She throws me to the no. She sees a couple guards coming up, and oh man, it was the coolest thing. She remember that one scene in Avengers with Scarlett Johansson just beating the tar out of people, right? That's what it was like. It was awesome. She comes up, one rifle, bam, hits across the head. The other guy comes swinging just as she ducks underneath and hits him in the groin with her elbow. The guy buckles over just as she hits him in the butt with the butt of the head over the top, and boom, he falls down, right? All over the place for 30 minutes. It's this just commies after commies coming at us, and just the power of democracy is what got us here there at the end.
And don't forget about the icicle skis that you threw.
And the icicle skis, right? I threw one and it impaled like 2 guys, and they go, oh, and they all fall down, right?
How would that have been killed?
It's a guy kebab.
A guy kebab, a comrade kebab.
Guy kebab.
A guy kebab. And eventually, after what seems like hours and hours of fighting, blood dripping down our clothes, and just sweat everywhere, our clothes torn up, bullet holes all over the place, we finally make it to the antechamber. And there's the commie guy. What was his name?
There were multiple commies.
Is General Zod.
General Comrade. There he was, the general, standing there very smartly with his...
Klevakina.
What was it?
Klevakina.
Klevakina? He was wearing Klevakina, or that was his name? You see, she is this is so hot. Holy cow.
His name
It's
is
because you're like.
Yeah, I'm animated.
Poor Amy.
And there he was, Admiral Klevakina, standing right there, and he has a pistol pointed directly at us. And Aurelia has her rifle pointed directly at her. And I'm standing over here with this sandwich.
Where did he come from?
Women, I reached in some guy's pocket and found it, right? It was really good. Commies know how to make a good sandwich, right? So anyway, there's a standoff. And Aurelia looks at me. And she looks at, what's his bucket? I forgot his name already.
I'm just calling Clay.
Clay. And then she realizes that she's probably out of ammo, you know? What she does is she pulled the trigger at the same time that she dives. She goes, boom! But luckily, she's out of ammo, right? But the guy's staring at her. She goes, boom, boom, boom! And she's rolling across the floor, right? And she's going all over the place. And she looks at me, and she yells like a signal at me that I didn't realize what it was. She goes, go, now! You know, I was like, I don't know what go now means, right? So I'm sitting there like with my sandwich or my communist carrot, you know? I was like, what's supposed to be happening? And then I noticed that Clay's turning around because he doesn't think I'm a threat. You know? And I'm like, oh my gosh, here's my chance, right? So I walk up behind him slowly.
It's real.
And I come and I karate chop him in the neck. Boom! But I think I hit the wrong spot because all he does is he looks at me with fire in his eyes and he slaps me across the face and I fall unconscious, right? Somehow, I don't know what happened, but I wake up. Hold on. I wake up. Oh! I blacked out. I wake up and there's blinding red lights everywhere. Bwah, 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 and I look over. And there's Clay on the ground, incapacitated. He's moaning in pain. Oh! And I see Aurelia walking up to him. And she kicks him and spits on him. You Russian pig. And so she limps herself over to the control panel. And she lifts up a lid. She starts tip-tap, ticky-tacking, and looks up at the screen. And the screen flashes red. Bwah! And she goes, crap. Tick-tack, tick-tack, tick-tack. Bwah!
My gosh.
I can tell she's getting animated, right? She's trying. And that's when I stand up. And I say, I know what to do. And I take her rifle, and I walk up to the screen, and I unplug the screen. And I say, did that do anything? And she says, no, you idiot, we need that. So she plugs it back in. And tick-tack, 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 tick-tack. For like 15 minutes. And it's terrifying because we can see the timer ticking down. We have 30 minutes left.
And then I look at him and I say, wait, what meat was in that sandwich?
What? I don't remember that. The meat must have drugged me up or something.
It was Karbashkatov.
Karbashkatov. And I say, yes, this is the Russians' famous Karbashkatov cheese sandwich.
And that was the password.
So she looks over. You're right. That's the only sandwich I've seen this entire fight. This entire time we've been here. That's the only meat that's been in the Russians' Karbashkatov green. Bing! You know, and
America won!
green. Yeah, the big American flags are floating on the screen.
Some eagles start.
And she falls backwards. And she says, we did it. We just saved the world.
Especially America.
And then she kissed me.
You are quite the hero.
That's how
Yeah, you
we
did
knew
so
each other.
much for
I'm
the
so
world.
glad my tax dollars went to this.
I always went to. And after that, she took me back to the igloo. She cooked me a really nice rabbit sandwich. You know, it was great, and we
And the
just hit it off
dishes?
from there. And the dishes, they're ice dishes actually. They're carved out of ice. So like,
So just throw them out the
Like
window.
in
we just
surf's
chopped
up.
them. Like a surf's up. And so yeah, after that, I asked her out on a date, and we went out on a date for ice cream or something, and we've been together ever since.
Aww. Aurelia, how do you remember the